Hi everyone! Today I thought I would show you how I make my own embellishments with the materials that I have on hand. So here I am using my Big Shot. It's a manual cutting machine. So I use it to cut like a base type of material to basically start making my embellishments. So I definitely fell down the rabbit hole of watching a million YouTube videos on creating embellishments because I think it's a great way to use the supplies that we have and sort of mix and match and make our own embellishments and supplies for decorating in general instead of buying things that might not exactly be what you want. So I do not claim to have invented any of these designs or anything like that. I'm really just putting it all together, absorbing from all of the various videos that I have watched as well, and I've linked many of them below in the description. And I just wanted to share with you my process because sometimes I can really get locked up in trying to create something and like keep thinking and rethinking and what should I do. So I sort of have this process of basically starting with a base shape. So what you saw before was me cutting different like shapes like a tag or a heart or a flower or even just a regular scrap piece of rectangular or square piece of paper. So I start with that base background. And if you're going to be using your embellishments like as a sticker or something, you can even use like a sticky back kind of background to start with. That way you already have your adhesive in the back. So basically my, quote unquote formula, if you can call it that, is that first I use a base piece of paper that's pretty, like sort of the largest almost size of what that embellishment piece is going to be, and it's the background of the embellishment. In this case, I actually used these sort of painted papers that I have. You can see they have sewing in them, sort of like drawing, and they're like purple and pink painted like mixed media pages. So I basically used mostly that as well as some like mixed papers, like just leftovers that I had around. So I started with that, and then what I do is I start to lay on top some type of like textured or transparent type of paper. So something that goes on top that is different in some way to sort of give the embellishment texture. So I'm using like die cut pieces of vellum or pieces of, what is that, like sort of lacy type of material, or specialty papers that are sort of like rice paper, or sort of see-through or transparent, because I think it just gives it nice contrast to incorporate those types of pieces. And really it is like a free-flowing process, even though I call it a formula. What I like to do is sort of lay them out like this so that you could sort of like keep putting things on top and seeing if it works out, and then keep changing them around before I actually glue or staple or like, put them all together. So basically I'm laying out a bunch of shapes and then putting more layers on that are either offset or a different texture or a different color or something so that you could see the difference. And obviously you can create as many layers as you would like, but really the idea is to create like a background and then have like these little pieces on top. And I try not to get too bulky because I don't really like to use like super bulky items in my traveler's journal and journals of various types, because it really just gets like way too unwieldy. But I know that adding dimension can really make an embellishment look really cool and pop. Like if you use chipboard or thickers, or even lace and fabric and leather bits and things like that. Just anything else to sort of make it a little bit different. So I'm using like just all kinds of bits and pieces, little sequin bits, buttons. The tiny little hearts are either cut out of paper or out of leather that I have, like scrap leather. So I have a lot of this stuff already just cut, and I put it in like a little box and sort of use them throughout. So once I'm feeling good about these different layers that I have, then I actually start gluing it together. And I often use liquid glue a lot. because I just feel like it really adheres all these different types of materials and pieces together, and they won't fall apart, whereas the sort of tape glue and things like that, I find that at least where I live, maybe it's more humid or something, like it sometimes falls off. So I like liquid glue better. It's just regular like white school glue, I guess. And so I use glue, or I will also use a stapler. So you can see like I have a mini stapler there, which is sort of nice because embellishments are small, and so if you have the smaller stapler, it just looks sort of cuter. So there I have like that tag version with different layers of paper and a little heart, and sort of the last, like second to last step I should say, is to add some kind of text to it. So I like to use little word strips. They're like word strip stickers, or you can make your own or print your own, and add that on. So it's nice to have like a little sentiment on the very top. And I say that it's like the second to last step because obviously the final finishing touches, you can definitely add like sparkle, glitter, spray, like some kind of sparkly gloss, or even splatter paint on top if you like that kind of like messy look, depending on what you like. Sometimes I add those little bits after the fact, when I'm actually using the embellishments like on a page, and then I'll add more. But for now, I'm just making a bunch of embellishments that obviously have like a similar look to them. So it's really great to have like a whole set of embellishments done, and you can use them for like one project. It's almost like making your own kit. So it's sort of cool in that sense. So I'm just gluing all these little bits together, and even though I've set them out and sort of decided on a certain look, when I glue them together, I might change things like a little bit here and there and shift them. So there's obviously the freedom to do that as you put it together. Okay, so I'm just gonna skip ahead now from all the gluing and stapling to all of my embellishments that are basically completed. So now I have this whole set of supplies to use that I've made myself for a project that I have upcoming. I hope you enjoyed watching the process, and please let me know down in the comments what you think. Thanks!